What's Smiles, blackfilmandtv.com. Hey, y'all, how's it going?
I'm all right, man. Have I met you before?
Uh, Probably so in the past.
Or
You know,
maybe
the
a
good thing about it
red
is that
carpet or something like that?
you work on so many projects. That's the good thing.
All right, for
You know,
sure. You
so
look
that's
familiar,
the
but
good
it's a
thing. We don't
pleasure to
know
be
where
here.
we met.
Right, right,
But
right.
you're playing Bobby Seale in this movie that a lot of people know the story about. What was that like?
It's an honor, to play Bobby Seale. The opportunity came across my desk, as they say, and I jumped at the opportunity, to breathe life into these words. Bobby Seale is a figure that I knew of growing up in Oakland. I didn't particularly know about the trial of the Chicago Seven, but I knew that there was a trial in which he was bound and gagged, and that had taken place somewhere in his life experience. And so, this was the project connected that piece of information, for me, and it was an honor, to give voice to a particular chapter in his life.
Did you talk to anybody in terms of how to play him based on his persona?
No, I didn't. I didn't speak with anyone, but I read his novel. I'm sorry, not his novel. I read his autobiography. I learned a lot about his appetite, his character, his charisma. I watched his interviews on YouTube, his speeches. I watched it in particular. I watched interviews of him from prison when he was in prison during this time, and I learned a lot about his speech, his witticisms, his appetite for for the limelight, and his commitment and his dedication to the people, for sure.
Obviously, as you mentioned, he's bound and gagged, and there's a scene in the movie, and that's not a spoiler because it happened. That when he's gagged, there's a moment in there where you could hear somebody, "Can he breathe?" And you think back to what's happening now. You
Mhm.
know, how did that make you reflect when you read that scene and and you saw the within the script that dialogue?
Yeah, well, I think a phrase like that is it permeates our subconscious and our culture in a way now that it might not have 10 years ago. And I think that when working on a film like Chicago Seven, when dealing with a character like Bobby Seale and the causes of Black liberation, one, I was always carrying that history, with me. So, in that moment, I found myself Bobby Seale as a character or as a human who was whose breath was being taken away and at risk, and we were fortunate enough that he was not suffocated in that moment. That was not the end of that was not the end of his journey. But I think it's one of those hauntingly eerie callbacks to the situation that we find ourselves in, even still, as Black Americans.
You got a lot of projects coming up. What goes into saying yes to the projects you take?
Very, very good question, man. And that's something that's starting to change. But it all depends. For a while, my word was appetite. And I wanted to do, whatever my appetite allowed me to do. Or whatever my appetite called for, and that's how I end up doing something like The Greatest Showman, and then on to Aquaman and Handmaid's Tale. So it all depends on what my appetite is. I was very, very fortunate enough to want to do more grounded projects that had a level of social consciousness and responsibility. And I found a project like Watchmen, and then Candyman, and Trial of the Chicago Seven. So right now, I think my word right now is history, responsibility, and even groundedness now. So I'm very fortunate enough to be able to seek out those projects that my appetite calls for, and hopefully I'm fortunate enough to keep the momentum going, with a string of really entertaining, responsible, and insightful pieces of work.
The more you work, the more I get, which is great. And as I said before, you do different projects, which is always hard to remember when we talked to each other last. So
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
doing
yeah.
your thing. We're here to support. Stay safe, and we'll talk down the road.
I
Take care.
appreciate you so much, man. All the best to you. Peace.